Katie Price, the iconic former glamour model turned multifaceted entertainer, has finally stepped into the spotlight to address a deeply personal and harrowing chapter from her past, one that has lingered in the shadows for over 2 decades. At 47 years old, Price is not just a survivor of immense public scrutiny but a woman who has reinvented herself time and again, now thriving in her burgeoning music career while navigating the complexities of fame, family, and forgiveness. Her recent revelation, delivered with raw vulnerability during a live performance event titled, An Evening with Katie Price and Kerry Katona, marks a pivotal moment not only in her own healing journey but also in the broader conversation surrounding sexual assault survivors in the entertainment industry. The evening in question was meant to be a celebration of friendship, resilience, and shared stories between 2 women who have weathered the storms of celebrity life, Katie Price and her longtime confidant, Kerry Katona, both 45. What began as an intimate gathering of fans eager for anecdotes from their page 3 days and reality TV escapades quickly transformed into something far more profound. As the lights dimmed and the audience settled in, Price, dressed in a sparkling ensemble that hinted at her glamorous roots yet spoke to her evolved, empowered self, took the stage. With Katona by her side, the duo exchanged knowing glances before Price launched into what would become the night's most unforgettable disclosure. She named her alleged attacker, a prominent British TV star whose identity had been a closely guarded secret for years. The room fell into a stunned hush, the weight of her words hanging in the air like an unspoken promise of justice long delayed. This wasn't an impulsive outburst, it was a calculated unburdening, one that Price had rehearsed in the quiet recesses of her mind for years. Reports from those close to the event describe how her voice, usually laced with the cheeky banter that endeared her to millions, trembled slightly as she recounted the incident. More than 20 years prior, in the hazy blur of early 2000s nightlife and nascent fame, Price alleges she was raped by this individual during a moment of vulnerability. The assault, she claims, shattered her sense of safety in an industry already rife with exploitation. 4 years, fear of backlash, legal repercussions, and the invasive glare of tabloid journalism kept her silent. But as she stood there, microphone in hand, Price explained that enough time had passed, and her inner strength had solidified into something unbreakable. "I've carried this for so long," she reportedly said, her eyes scanning the crowd for understanding rather than pity. "But tonight I'm letting it go. Not for him but for me." The revelation didn't emerge in isolation. Flashbacks to Price's time on ITV's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, in the Australian jungle painted a fuller picture of her courage. During that grueling season, amid bush tucker trials and campfire confessions, Price had unmasked the star to her campmates, a moment captured on camera but ultimately shelved for legal reasons. The footage, described by insiders as emotionally charged and unflinchingly honest, never aired, preserving a fragile balance between truth-telling and potential litigation. Yet, the catharsis of that jungle disclosure lingered, a seed planted that finally bloomed during the live show. Kerry Katona, ever the loyal ally, amplified the moment by sharing Price's jungle story with the audience that very night. Katona, whose own life has been a tapestry of triumphs and tragedies, from atomic kitten stardom to battles with addiction and custody, spoke with the fervor of someone who had held space for Price's pain. "Katie's been my rock and I've been hers," Katona said, her voice steady. "What she went through, no one should ever have to endure that alone." Their joint appearance underscored a theme of solidarity among women in media, where personal traumas often intersect with professional pressures. In the days following the event, the outpouring of support was nothing short of tidal. Fans, fellow celebrities, and advocacy groups flooded Price's social media with messages of empathy and empowerment. On her podcast, The Katie Price Show, co-hosted with her sister Sophie, Price peeled back another layer of her emotional armor. The episode, recorded in the cozy confines of her Sussex home, featured producer Ben reading aloud a selection of these heartfelt notes. One listener wrote of their own survival story, drawing parallels to Price's resilience. "Your voice gave me the courage to speak mine." Another, a young woman inspired by Price's unapologetic authenticity, shared, "You've shown me that glamour isn't just skin deep, it's in the scars we wear proudly." Price, seated cross-legged on a plush sofa with Sophie nodding encouragingly beside her, absorbed each word like a bomb. "I am so overwhelmed and so happy," she confessed, her eyes glistening but her smile unwavering. "I love all of those messages. It is nice, inspiring, and encouraging. To know that by sharing my truth, I'm helping even one person, that's the real win." Sophie's perspective added a poignant familial dimension to the narrative. As the younger sibling who has witnessed Price's roller coaster, from the heights of Jordan the supermodel to the depths of bankruptcy and health struggles, Sophie offered a grounded counterpoint. When Ben posed the question of what it felt like to observe her sister's perpetual battles finally yielding to peace, Sophie's response was laced with hard-earned wisdom. Where you are constantly fighting, now everything is calm. It feels uneasy where you are not used to, but it is nice, she reflected. Their sisterly bond, forged in the fires of public spectacle, has been a constant in Price's life. Sophie, a makeup artist by trade and quiet force behind the scenes, has often been the voice of reason amid chaos. This podcast moment highlighted how Price's disclosure wasn't just personal but generational, a ripple effect touching those closest to her. Delving deeper into Price's journey, it's impossible to ignore the broader context of her life. Born Katrina Amy Alexandra Alexis Infield in 1978, she rose to fame as a page 3 girl in The Sun, embodying the cheeky, curvaceous ideal of British tabloid culture. But beneath the glamour lay a story of adversity, a childhood marked by her mother's multiple marriages, a teen pregnancy at 17, and the relentless objectification that came with her Jordan persona. Her music career, often dismissed as a publicity stunt, has seen surprising longevity. Tracks like Free to Love Again and collaborations with dance producers have charted modestly but connected deeply with fans who see her as an underdog anthem incarnate. Recent singles have showcased a matured vocal style, blending pop hooks with introspective lyrics that hint at her traumas without overt exposition. This assault revelation arrives at a career inflection point, where Price is penning an autobiography sequel and eyeing a return to reality TV on her terms.